ahead. We are now down to 9.5 on the road for Notre Dame against Purdue.
Yeah, I'm hearing whispers that Riley Leonard's not going to play, which is, I think, going to be a good thing for Notre Dame.
Right.
So I bet Purdue. I'm part of the line move. I think Purdue's live if Leonard plays. If he doesn't, I would like Notre Dame at the right number because I think the market will overreact. You can't overreact to a guy that's got 0 touchdown passes. That he's got 1 completion of 20 yards. So the backup Steve Angeli, we've seen him a bunch. I thought he was more efficient than Sam Hartman in a lot of games last year. He looked good in the bowl game. So this is a sneaky one where I think the market's going to overreact to Leonard being out, and I'm going to lay with Notre Dame on game day.
Brad Powers with us. BradPowerSports.com, at BradPower7 up on Twitter. Colorado State and Colorado. I'm fascinated by this one.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. On one hand, I do lean Colorado. I just worry that Colorado State on the back end doesn't have the athletes to cover in space. I bet Colorado, but I'll say this. I got a bigger position on Colorado's season win total, and I would root for a Colorado loss. And if Colorado were to lose this game, I think the season's completely combustible where, I mean, it could be 2-10, 3-9 type of dumpster fire.
These rivalry spots are weird. First, let's get to the Civil War. What do you think of Oregon State? Can they hang and potentially play, inside of 2 touchdowns? I mean, the line's a little bigger than that. What do you think of that game?
Well, I mean, if Oregon plays the way they did the last 2 weeks, then forget the point spread. Oregon State's live in this game, and just like Boise State was live, just like Idaho was live. So, I mean, the market certainly for the 3rd week in a row expecting a lot out of Oregon. For me to believe it, I got to see it first. What I have seen from Oregon State is a powerful running attack, something that I think can be repeatable week after week after week. So I've been impressed with them. Yeah, I need 17 though to bet Oregon State.
Yeah, Mississippi State got a little plucky on the road last week in coming back, at least making it respectable. You put out numbers on Hugh Freeze and his history as a double-digit favorite. He ain't great, and I wonder if you're suggesting an upset here against Toledo.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze is at Auburn.
Oh, you're right. I had it. I did the wrong way. My bad. Yeah.
No, you're all right. You're all right. At first, I was like, man, that maybe
I screwed up.
I was like, what game's he talking about here? But I like the over in both
Griffin's
games.
fault again.
That is Griffin's fault.
Yeah. I like the over in both games. I keep it simple. I've given out both overs in both of those games. And by both games, I mean Toledo, Mississippi State, and Auburn, New Mexico. Obviously, I think New Mexico's a dead nut over team, but their defense is the worst in the country. Dampier run around at quarterback. I think Auburn's offense and Hugh Freeze rebounds. Mississippi State, I like the fight that they showed in the second half against Arizona State last week. So, we've seen a lot of money come in on them this week. I agree with that, but I just prefer points here.
Apple Cup, Washington, Wazoo.
I lean Washington. I think they've been a little sneaky. No one's really dove into them too much. They haven't played anybody yet, but man, their box scores are pretty dominant, more dominant than the final scores show. I mean, they're in the top 10 in yards per play margin. I know Washington State got a big win last week, but it was kind of fluky over Texas Tech, and I bet Washington State in that game. So I like what I've seen from Mateer at quarterback for Wazoo, but Washington's going to be a different animal here, so I'm going to lay it with the Huskies.
What do you do with Florida, Texas A&M with the news that we're going to see both DJ Lagway and maybe Graham Mertz?
I haven't bet side or total, sitting it out. It's a really good game to get a data point on what these two teams are going to be. Obviously, neither one looked that good in week 1. I mean, both played tomato cans in week 2, and we'll get a better feel this week.
What about Oklahoma what do I do with Oklahoma after that against Houston? I think Houston's one of the worst teams in the country, but they pushed Oklahoma last week. Now the Sooners get Tulane.
My power rating is like Oklahoma, but I'm not super confident in that power rating yet. I lean their way, but this is another game where I'm going to get a feel for what Oklahoma can be, because I'm worried. I got to be honest with you. I heard a really bad review on their fall camp, particularly their quarterback, Jackson Arnold. And through the first 2 games, that report that I got for just prior to the season has been nothing but true. I mean, Jackson Arnold looks terrible on offense.
Brad Powers up on Cofield and Company here on a Thursday at Brad Powers 7 on Twitter and BradPowerSports.com. Big game for Memphis against Florida State.
It is. I mean, certainly a bigger game than was expected just a few weeks ago. I mean, the game of the year line was like 16. And then, I think a week ago when the line opened back up, it was like 2. So a huge adjustment for Florida State being 0-2. But I think they recompose themselves at least a little bit. They have to. Otherwise, season's over here. But off a bye and Norvell playing his old team, I think they're the sharp side this week.
What are we doing with Michigan moving forward? Because that was a weird spot against Texas, and they're taking on Ark State.
I laid it this week. I think Arkansas State's a phony, a fraud. 2-0 should be 0-2. So I didn't have any problems. I thought Michigan, rewatching the tape, I thought their quarterback played better than I originally thought watching that. Plus, they showed some fight in the second half. I know, they showed fight in the second half. You're talking about the defending champs. But, I mean, I thought Texas was going to, beat them by 40 points after watching the first half. So I liked what I saw there, and I laid it against Arkansas State.
Bill O'Brien. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
You pointed to me. So again, Griffin, man, you got to stop with this. How bad is